This is Dennis John Seatsma, Dennis John Seatsma Productions. This is October 2nd, 2022. I'm in southeastern Florida, and weather today is a little bit light rain and overcast, but I hope to get some work done today on my 1994 Astro van project, which I shared on prior logs what I've done to it, trying to get it back into good service again, and I have a lot more work to do that I'll do in between other projects. But right now I have an electrical problem, and this 1994 Astro van has some electrical flaws that are glaring, such as the lack of the fuse on the brake start solenoid that shorts out and pops a fuse, and you can't find it because it's on the steering column. And the solenoid has good purpose in that it prevents you from starting the vehicle in gear unless your foot's on the brake, and or something like that. Anyway, I forget the name of the solenoid, but I'll edit it in later. But I have extensive notes. But the electrical system, not only did they fail to fuse that stupid thing, and when that fuse goes, you lose your power windows, you lose your VSS on your speedo control, because the amplifier doesn't have power, and the amplifier is under here somewhere. The newer versions of the 4L68 transmission had the VSS amplifier built in the sensor, so you have to get power down to it. On the newer, the 4L68 transmissions evolved from 1993 over the years, and it has a lot of technical flaws that can be resolved with new kits from Sonex and Transgo and others, and really some wonderful improvements. But anyway, back to the electrical. To fix this problem, it causes the A pin on the ignition switch to burn out, the A pin, alpha. It gives your power to the power windows, the brake fuse, and the fuse block. That's one technical flaw, is when it draws too much current, like you turn on the rear AC on full and you leave it on, it can burn out this ignition switch. To replace the ignition switch, you got to work under the dash, which is not my favorite thing to do, or several others, and 2 screws and replace the switch. The switch is not expensive, but this is too much current going through that circuit, which is fed. There's several feeds to the ignition switch. They go through C289 and C201 and others. So it helps to have the power distribution chart from the service manual like I have here. And this next page shows the fusible link. And these fused links fail right at the bulkhead where it passes through. So what I've done to fix the problem, the fix is to add a 200 amp relay, so the heavy power goes through that 200 and make it switched. So to do that, I got to run 2 new wires from the battery to the switched relay, and I have to ferret out where to mount the relay. So I need to buy the relay and then figure out how to install it, and find time. Time is my biggest problem. Time management. But these 4 wires, they go through the bulkhead. I've cut them at the bulkhead because you can't fix that unless you replace the bulkhead or find the connector, or and that's bullshit because it does not work well. So what I did is I took the wires where they went to the fuse. I left the fused links in, but I ran wires directly to the positive of the battery. And I don't like crimp connectors are fine if they're soldered, but I don't like crimp connectors that aren't soldered. And you can argue with me if you want. Hey, it's just an opinion, people. This is a video log. It's not a how-to. I'm not saying how the best way to do things are. I'm just telling you what Dennis does, okay? You can post a comment if you know a better way, but don't criticize that I'm saying this is the only way to do it. This is not the only way. There are other ways. Anyway, I'm going to add another 200 amp relay to this project van somewhere, so I can put the full power to the rear AC without burning out that ignition switch. Now, I've moved these wires recently around when I was working on the ABS, so I may have to cut these out, but I'm going to disconnect one at a time and ferret out which one gives power to the fuse block. And looking at the fuse block, and yes, I have a chart for the fuse block, but I don't have it in my hand. But I do have it where I can print it out. There's like 4 circuits and there's 4 rows of fuses, so I assume there's a bus bar for each one. So as I disconnect power, I can ferret out which one is not working and then focus on just that one. Because I don't want to reinvent the world here, guys. Rome was not built in a day. I just want to focus on my problem, why my power windows aren't working. That's one symptom, and the other is I have no fan. So from the service manual, I have the factory. I bought them when I bought the van from Helm, and I hope you enjoy my video. This is a video log, and of course, always know do-it-yourself projects or do-it-yourself work can result in severe injury or death. So do it at your own risk, and this is a video log, not a how-to. If you want a how-to, go to the professional sources that generate professional videos. This is a video log. And I like doing tests with a test light because it's quick. And these test lights, I always solder them where the spring connects because that's where they fail. These cheap test lights. And even the expensive ones I solder because the professional ones fail at the same place, right where the bulb connects to the spring internally. But I also use a digital voltmeter, but it's slower. It takes more time and you can make some mistakes, whereas this is pretty simple. And I like simple because a lot of the do-it-yourself people are new to the do-it-yourself. And I do the do-it-yourself videos because I'm thrift-minded and especially like to manage my time. And by the time you go to a shop and explain what your needs are to the shop manager or service writer, you might have been able to fix it yourself if it's something simple. And even if it's not simple, sometimes you do better work on your own stuff than the shops do. Because the shops like to use crimp connectors and say fixed, because that'll work for the warranty, but it won't work for the lifetime of the vehicle or vessel. Crimp connectors tend to corrode over time, and that's why I solder them. And sometimes I don't even use connectors. If I can do a Western Union splice where you wrap 2 wires together and solder it, and then I put on a couple coats of insulation, paintable insulation, and then quality vinyl tape. I double insulate everything I do. Again, that's me, and I use marine grade wire, so I'd get rid of these automotive wires if I redid any of these and use my marine, and probably heavier gauge. But I'd leave the fusible links in because you don't want to remove fusible links. You can replace them with fuses if you want. Again, options, people, options. I'm not saying what is best. And hope you enjoy my video. Please give it a thumbs up, a like, comment, or share the video. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching.